Hey, kindergarten, good afternoon. Today is Wednesday. It is March 25th. And today I thought I would read you a story that is similar to the folktale we read yesterday. If you remember, yesterday we read Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And this is a story that's similar to that, but a little bit different. This one is called Somebody and the Three Blairs. Okay, and this is by Marilyn Tolhurst, and the illustrations are by Simone Abel. Okay, let's see how this story goes. There's our title page, Somebody and the Three Blairs. Listen to that word, three. I hear that th at the beginning. One Sunday morning in a small house on the edge of town, Mr. Blair, Mrs. Blair, and Baby Blair were sitting down to breakfast. "It's such a fine morning," said Mr. Blair. "Let's take a walk in the park." So these are people, a mom and a dad and a baby, and their last name is Blair, which sounds very similar to bear. "What a good idea," said Mrs. Blair. "Feed ducks," said Baby Blair. So they took their coats and a bag of breadcrumbs and set out for the park. While they were gone, somebody came to the door. Somebody knocked, and when no one answered, somebody tiptoed in. He sniffed and sniffed. He looked at the breakfast table. "This food is too dry," said somebody. "This food is too noisy," said somebody. "This food is just right. Look what he's eating. He's got a big jar full of honey." He looked for somewhere to sit down. So his name in the story, the bear's name, is Somebody. And I can tell that because when I look at his name, it starts with a capital letter. And so that tells me that it's his name. So his name is Somebody. "This seat is too hard," said somebody. "This seat is too wobbly," said somebody. That looks like some of you on our reading chairs. "But this seat is just right." He looked for something to play with. "Oh, this game is too noisy," said somebody. "Oh, this game is too cold," said somebody. He's in the freezer. "But this game is just right. Look at that mess he is making." He looked for something to drink. I wonder if he's intrigued to see what's upstairs, like Goldilocks was intrigued to see what was upstairs in the Three Bears house. "This rain is too hot," said somebody. See, as the shower head. "This pond is too small," said somebody. "But this stream is just right." He looked for somewhere to sleep. "This bed is too big," said somebody. "This bed is too small," said somebody. "But this bed is just right." When Mr. and Mrs. Blair and Baby Blair came back from the park, they saw the breakfast table. Oh, what a mess. "Somebody's been eating my crunchies," said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been eating my Crispies," said Mrs. Blair. "All gone," said Baby Blair. They looked around the room. "Somebody's been sitting on my chair," said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been sitting on my chair," said Mrs. Blair. "Busted," said Baby Bear. They went into the kitchen. "Somebody's been emptying the cupboard," said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been raiding the fridge," said Mrs. Blair. "Naughty," said Baby Blair. They went upstairs. I wonder if they're also going cautiously, like Goldilocks. The Three Bears went yesterday in our story. Remember, they went cautiously. They didn't know if someone was up there. "Flood!" shouted Mr. Blair. "Help!" shouted Mrs. Blair. "Lot of water!" shouted Baby Blair. They looked in the bedrooms. "It's a burglar," said Mr. Blair. "It's a monster," said Mrs. Blair. "It's a big teddy bear," said Baby Blair. "It's escaped from the zoo," said Mr. Blair. "It's escaped from the circus," said Mrs. Blair. "It's escaped down a drain pipe," said Baby Blair. "Somebody phoned the police," said Mr. Blair. "Somebody called the fire department," said Mrs. Blair. "Somebody gone home," said Baby Blair. So remember, the bear's name was Somebody. Somebody has gone home. Bye-bye. Come again and play tomorrow. And that's the end of our story. So how are the characters in this story different than the characters in the story that we read yesterday? Be thinking about that. Lots of love to you, kindergarten.